All right, folks, we are in round three, the finals of the Grand Arena for season 14, which is just plain 3v3 without any ships. And our opponent this time is Luke S. I briefly spoke about him in the last video, but Luke S has got a pretty decent roster. It does not have any Sith Empire, and he runs a Jedi Knight Revan in the arena. But he's got almost all the relevant characters with pretty decent Zetas, very good troopers, very good sisters, excellent scoundrels as well, and and obviously his Jedi Knight Revan is top class. He's got Chewie, C-3PO, so almost all the meta tunes with the exception of Darth Revan and Darth Malak. Those are the biggest holes in the roster. But I do have a very stout defense which is set, and it looks like my opponent is pretty creative. So I'm looking forward to this particular match. I mean, he did win two matchups to get to this place, so um, he's pretty good. So let's take a look at the top wall of my opponent. He set Bastilla team. It's a Bastilla stall team at the top, and a couple of bounty hunter teams over here, all pretty well geared and well Zetaed as well. Django has a Zeta, but it's not on his leadership; it's on his unique, which is interesting. So, and the Dengar has got a Zeta as well. So his bounty hunters are pretty good. He It was enough to set two big teams in the front, and then he's got his Daka, Talia, and a Sarge team and a couple of Sith teams. And Basti under EP can get pretty nasty as well, especially with a Thrawn to block the other opponent in fracture. And we've got the Sith triumvirate as well. So pretty stout defense up front, which makes me think that my opponent might not be planning to attack me, given that he saw that I had Darth Revan and Malak, so maybe he's not planning to attack. But what I did was I decided not to keep my Darth Revan on defense. And this is something that I've been doing for the last few Grand Arenas. If I see that my opponent does not have Darth Revan or Malak, I do not place my Darth Revan team on defense. I did place my Malak along with Sisters. I'm curious to see how this does on defense, and I kept it on front, along with my GK Scoundrel team, which has been a staple for me in the last 2 3 Grand Arena matches, and the Bosk Han and Chewie team. That is an interesting team because Bosk, once he gets guard, can get pretty nasty. And below, I've kept so top was my toughest defense. Below, I've just kept a CLS team since I was anyway using Han and Chewie under Bosk. I decided to keep my CLS with C-3PO and Leia. Leia is pretty fast, 273, and CLS is 270, so that could be a pretty decent combo. And then I've got my Old Republic team, and then a Kira Nest Scoundrel team. And at the back, pretty weak teams because I wanted to save the best for offense. I've kept my Evox and I've kept my Jedi Healer Reviver Stall team. And at the top, nothing much, just Empire, Tarkin and Akbar speed leads, and a Zam bounty hunter team. Um, so let's go ahead and start attacking my opponent. We have. I doubt whether my opponent is going to attack me primarily because my the previous opponent that Luke S faced was That's No Moon, another YouTuber, and he had put out a video with the of him taking down Lucas's defenses. And if I look, I went through that video and I saw that it was exactly the same team which was set up in the front. So on the top, he had these exact same three teams in his last matchup, and the bottom he had this exact same three teams as well. So he might have just let the same teams from his round two carry over to this round without any intention of attacking. So my guess is that my opponent is probably not going to attack me, but I am and I'm anyway planning to clear his team. I think it'll be good practice just because he set a really tough defense, and it'll be a good chance for me to test my teams to see how well they do. So let's go ahead and get started with the top section because I want to expose what's there at the back over here, which has got three teams, and then we can go and expose what's over here at two teams. So let's start at the top. We have two bounty hunter teams. So what I'll do is I'll attack the boss team first, and I'll use my crew against that. I could use either JTR or crew, but his boss is at 244 speed, and my crew is faster than that. So I find crew to be a much more effective control than JTR for boss teams. Daze and ability block is good for boss, but a two turn stun is so much better. It's almost as good as a fracture. So that's why I always prefer to go with the first order against any boss teams. And on offense, I like to go with first order executioner with the two Kylos. Okay, right. So let's start with a stun on Bosk. And usually we see Boba Fett in this position instead of Django, but my opponent has Django with a Zeta on his unique. Um, so I'm going to just start focusing on Django over here. Now, if Django was in the lead, then burning would prevent turn meter gain for first order, but luckily he's not in the lead, which means that turn meter gain will still be possible. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use basic just so that the taunt remains on crew, and I'm going to use basic again. All right, now some more turn meter to everyone. Okay, now stun boss for 2 times again, and then just finish off Boba. Now we focus on boss before we get to Dengar. Now the thermal detonators can get pretty damaging, especially to Fox. It's not much of a problem for both the Kylos since percentage health damage does not take into effect against them. But Bosk is really Fox is really susceptible to the thermal detonators, which is why um, it's good that he's critting and gaining more max health. That's going to help offset some of the damage by the thermal detonators. Now I can either use Kylo Ren's special ability Outrage, or I can use his basic. In this case, basic is better because it applies healing immunity, so that when Dengar does his applies any debuffs, Bosk is not going to heal. There we go. So let's stun him again. So that's why you have to time when to use. So he ended up healing because he did not have healing immunity. But if you time it properly, then Bosk ends up not healing, which is great. So the healing immunity, stun again. Okay, this should finish him off. Right. All right, so now we just go for Dengar, and then that gets done. So it's a good control team, especially against Bosk. So I love using first order. I used to keep first order a lot on defense in 3v3, but I found out that it's such a great control mechanism that Kylo has that it's a waste not to keep it on offense. And it can be easily countered on defense as well. It's very easy to get a JTR team faster than crew, so it's not as threatening as it should be. Now against the Boba team, I've got Boba, Embo, and Greedo, all of them hitting pretty hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with an EP, Vader, and Scion team. EP stuns control these guys pretty well, and I don't think my Boba will be able to outspeed my Vader. The Boba is 211, no speed bonus. My Vader is 239, plus he'll get speed bonus from him and EP and Scion. So I think that will be good enough. Let's see. Sith, EP, Vader, and let's see, Scion. This should do the job. Scion is a great tank, and let's get rid of Greedo first. Okay, and some stun, hopefully some land. Okay, let's get rid of this guy. Ooh, Dengar hits really, really hard. Now I won't be able to heal because I've got healing immunity on him. Let's try to finish off Boba. I have yeah, because I don't want Boba to execute one of these guys to get his bounty hunters resolved back. All right, let's heal up and get rid of. He's got Boba's got 3 dots, so he's probably going to die if he takes a turn. Vader's Culling Blade is unavailable, so even though Embo has got foresight, he's going to die there. And that's another good thing. Once Boba throws his Culling Blade, if he kills someone, he gets another turn. That's why it was better to kill Embo with a Culling Blade and then kill Bova immediately after that. So, all right. Now we've got one final team on top, Basti, Jolie, and Hermitura. Now this team will have a lot of protection and a lot of sustainability because Hermitura is going to heal, Jolie is going to heal and revive, and all three are going to call assists. Basti has got her own special assist move. Hermitura obviously has got a master's training with which she calls assists, and Jolie has got an assist on a special as well. So what I'm going to try is I ideally would have taken my General Grievous team against a Jedi team like this, but I want to try Padme against it because specifically because Padme's team has got a lot of survivability, tons of damage, and at the same time they are very anti teams which assist a lot. So any team like this which has a lot of counters which attack out of turn, or teams which call for assists, that ends up giving Padme teams a lot of undispellable protection up, which is great because the more protection up they get, the more it gets converted to courage and the more damage they do. So a lot of sustainability for Padme teams against a team like this. And I'm curious to see how this will do. I've never actually tried Padme against Basti Jedi, but in theory, since it's an extremely assist-based team, I have a feeling it'll do pretty well. So my Padme at the time of lock of Grand Arena was only G11, but double Zetard. I've got my Annie and Ahsoka over here. No GK because I kept GK on defense. In 3v3, I'm planning to go with these three. Within 4 or 5 days, I think I should have Ahsoka's Zeta as well. That's the next one I'm planning to give to this team. And that will really make this team pretty deadly to face. But for now, I've just got the 2 Zetas on Padme and nothing else on the other two. So let's see how this team does. So they're faster. They get a boost up. Because Bastilla attacked out of turn, you get this undisputable protection up on Padme, which is great. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just get some protection up on everyone. There. Now even Ahsoka has got undispellable protection up, locked protection up, just because there was an assist called. Now let's start working on these guys. Another reason that Ahsoka is great against Jedi is because her basic dispels, and Jedi are all about buffs. They keep getting tons of buffs, so it's uh, it's always great to dispel. So it's going to take a little time, but these guys will get through them. Okay. Now let's keep working on. Oh, these guys are going hard on Ahsoka. Oh, but look at how hard they hit. Now Jolie has used up his revive ability to give health to Bastilla, so now it should be safe to get rid of her. It's a lot of survivability there. Okay, let's see if we can. Okay, we got rid of her. Now we have to target down on Jolie. It'll take a while. Oh, Jolie has revived her, so I'm going to get rid of her again. And then, because she's a main damage dealer, so we need to make sure she's gone. And then there, she's gone. And now let's work on Jolie. It's going to take a while, but I think we'll get through this. Okay. Let's dispel that, give some protection up. Okay, now keep working on Jolie, get his protection down. All right, so now Jolie has lost his bonus protection. Now it should be pretty easy to... Now you can see Annie has got 5 stacks of courage, so this is going to hit pretty hard, I bet. There. All right, let's grant some protection up to everyone, and he's almost gone. Yoda healed him up, and she's called him back. Okay, let's get rid of... yeah. So a lot of heal and survivability in this team, but shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Let's keep working on Jolie. Now call assist, and that's it. Jolie's gone. So takes a while to run through that team, but you could see the amount of survivability that Galactic Republic had just because of all those assists out of turn. So that's why teams like these, which assist a lot, or Karth teams, for example, or or CLS teams, all those teams are great uh, uh, to be to use Padme teams on. Padme teams are great counters to all those assist-based teams. So that's something interesting. My goal is to end up building up Padme to use against Darth Revan and Malak. For that, I would probably need Annie Zeta as well. So it might be a little bit before that is realized. But that should be the ultimate goal. All right. So I have over here a Vader and Mission and Zalbar team. That's interesting. Um, and I've got Kira and Greedo and young Han under Kira, which is also interesting. And then I've got Vandor, L3, and Ness. So pretty heavy on the defense over here. So I'll need some really solid teams to take this out. All right, let's think about that. But before that, I want to clear this section over here and see what's at the back. So given the severity of the defense over here, there's no way my opponent is planning to attack. So I can play more safely, but I still do want to one-shot everything just because it's good practice. All right, let's for the Asajj, Talia, and Daka. So the only damage dealer over there is Asajj. There's no zombie, so there's going to be no free revives. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take heavy damage dealers against that. And I want to take my Django and Boba in there because Boba executes and he's going to prevent any revives that Daka might have. So uh, they should be pretty squishy, but yeah, I think my bounty hunter should do the job. Now I can, yeah, let me go with Django lead. That'll give the speed bump and protection against some additional tenacity, I guess. Yeah. Okay, let's see how these guys do. There's no tank over here, but I'm hoping that there's enough damage to burn through them. All right, let's put an ability block on Daka, and let's see if we can't get rid of Asajj. A lot of stuns. Okay, let's land some. Okay, let's see if we can get rid of. There we go. Now Daka was not able to revive just because of the execute, so that's excellent. Okay, let's ability block Daka as well, and this should finish her off. No, she evaded. I didn't know that ability could be evaded. Okay, let's land some more burning and execute Daka. Now we just have Thalia, and this should do it. All right. Even with zombie, the bounty hunter team with Django and Boba is excellent just because they can go around zombie taunt and execute, which prevents any revives, even the 2 free zombie revives. The only place where I wouldn't use these guys against Nightsisters is if they've got Acolyte in there. The AoE that these guys have probably might not be enough to take care of a hidden Acolyte, especially if zombies there. That's the only case in which I wouldn't use these guys against Nightsisters. Otherwise, especially if you have Boba in there, Boba and Django, and with a tank like Bosk, these three can take down any Night Sister team on offense. Bosk I usually like to keep on defense, so I usually will have Boba on offense to take out these Night Sisters. All right, so we've got Traa, and we have EP Basti and Thrawn, which is going to be a pretty nasty team. Um, so that team, EP Basti and Thrawn, relies heavily on debuffs, and they're going to gain a lot of turn meter on debuffs and all that. Fortunately, Basti's debuffs can all be resisted. The only time that it can't be resisted is under is once fear is inflicted, but fear also can be resisted unless it's under Darth Revan lead. So as long as I have a team with high tenacity, it should be fine. So I'm thinking of going in with a Basti lead against EP, Jedi Basti lead against EP Basti and Thrawn. And Thrawn, to neutralize Thrawn, I need a tank in there as well. So I'll go with 2 damage dealers and a tank. And under Basti, the tank is going to end up taunting, so he's going to end up taking the fracture from Thrawn, which is great. So I'm going to go in with Basti and Ezra. Those two usually go hand in hand for me, and I'm going to take in Kenobi as well as the tank, and to absorb the fracture and apply some ability block and turn meter reduction when he can, but mostly just to absorb the fracture. And Ezra and Basti should be doing all the damage, and hopefully no debuff should land on them there. So Thrawn ended up um, Thrawn ended up fracturing uh, old Ben. Now I need to start working on EP. All right. Now it's important to get rid of EP first because there we go, almost done. So it's important to get rid of EP first because every turn that EP takes, um, every turn that my Jedi take, they'll end up losing health because of EPs. BP's unique, and Ezra and old Ben actually end up losing double because they're both Jedi and Rebel. So that's uh, that's not ideal. Okay, there you go. See, the battle can immediately get out of control just because of all these turn meter that they get. This is definitely a tough team to take out. So I'll probably have to go in with another team. All right. Yep. Well, at least DP is out, so we can go with another cleanup team to take this out. Hmm. Yeah, the combination of Thrawn as well as Dark Basti makes this a really tough team. especially with the rework that Dark Basti had with Fear. It probably made her a really strong opponent under EP or Darth Revan, in fact. All right, so that was um, that was unfortunate, but yeah, maybe I should have taken my Jedi Knight Revan against that. But I want to save my Jedi Knight Revan against to be used against the Sith trio over here. So let's go ahead and finish that battle. Let's see what Jedi I have left. Or maybe I should have used my Grandmaster Yoda in my Basti team to spread tenacity up, which instead of Ezra, and I could have used my Ezra in the Jedi Knight Revan team. That's fine. Nothing I can do about it. All right. So I don't have Jolie. I don't have Basti. I don't have any others. So I'm just going to use my Thrawn over here to place Scion on Fracture and then attack with my. Or actually, I'm going to place maybe Nihilus or Scion. But I'm going to mark Traa in any case. So maybe yeah, I'm going to place Scion on a timeout and mark Trea and get rid of her. It's going to take a while. Okay, now let me see if I can get rid of Trea right away. This should do the job. All right. Now let's go after Nihilus. Okay, let's see if we can clear him. Okay, it's going to take a while. Let's keep working on him. Because if I start giving Scion any debuffs, he's going to end up increasing this guy's life even more. Darth Nihilus isn't life even more, so I'm going to avoid that. Slow going, but that's fine. We still haven't triggered Savior. They should do it. All right. Hell by Hatred is out, but that shouldn't matter. We should be able to burn through this guy twice. Fracture and yep. I didn't have any Jedi over here. Otherwise, I would have used another one, and that should have done a much easier job. Okay. All these assists are making me lose a lot of health, but that's fine. Okay, so we one-shot that. Now the only thing left over here is Thrawn and Basti. Now they don't have a leader, so I'll need to get something to take care of them. Let's see what I have. Okay. Maybe I use my So who are the ones who can absorb a fracture? There's going to be... I need someone to stun. Alright, let me take in my Sith Trooper to absorb the fracture and then a couple of other guys. Let's see who else I have. Huge damage dealers I need. Maybe stunners, ideally. Should I go in with MT, Asajj, and Spirit? Let's see what Sith I have. Let's see. I do have my Count Dooku. Who else do I have? Who are the stunners? Let me take a look at the stunners that I have. And how many Nightsisters do I have? Maybe I might need to take a sergeant. Let's see. Alright. Let me use a Sarge. Let me use a... Yeah, I can use a Sarge. And then I can use Sith Trooper to take the fracture. Then I need another big damage dealer. Maybe... I don't know, maybe... Oh no. I need a Sarge because she's the only dispel I have left apart from Scion. Should I use my Traa against it? But I don't know what's at the back, so I want to save my Traa for that. Same thing with Nihilus. She's going to inflict fear, so even Basti, Dark Basti by herself is no joke. I probably can go with the Spirit, but I need a good leader. This guy stuns as well. And I've got Visas as well, so maybe I can use my Rex Wampa Visas team. Because Visas is going to assist, and Wampa should have enough damage, and Rex cleanses. So that should probably take care of this team pretty well. Maybe I should have used this team right from the beginning. Yeah, because Rex is great against EP. And Visas is great against Sith again. Okay, Visas is fractured, but let's see if we can get rid of Basti first. Okay, this should do it. Okay, let's just go after damage. Okay, so Visas is gone. It's quite squishy, but we still have Wampa, and he should take care of this guy. There we go. I don't know if this team would have done it in the first attempt because EP also would have been there, and there would have been more debuffs, which means more turn meter for them. They would have fed out a lot. So it is a tough team. And I have to think of a good counter for it because usually when I see Dark Basti, I see her in a Revan team, Darth Revan team. Um, but yeah, maybe Jedi Knight Revan, but I'm afraid that'll be a little bit of an overkill. But good team, definitely a good team, but took an extra battle than what I thought. All right, let's see what it's at the back over here. So yeah, we have the Hide the Acolyte zombie with Mother Talzin, which is always a tough combination. And this is the reason I wanted to save Asajj because Asajj and Scion are the only dispellers that you have, mass dispellers. Um, well, you do have IPD and Death Trooper as well, but they're not as effective. And my IPD is pretty low gear as well. Asajj and Scion are much better dispellers, AOE dispellers, and they don't care if the opponent is in stealth. All right. So for that, I definitely want to take in Asajj. A, because she's got a dispel to cleanse the stealth off from Acolyte, and B, because she's got an AOE as well, a very powerful AOE which keeps building up as zombie keeps dying. So I'm going to take in my sisters over here and Spirit for some additional control. Okay, this should do the job. Okay, let's dispel this. See if we can land a stun over here. Now these sisters are going to die twice and then come back. So let's heal up a little bit. And let's take out let's hit zombie because both these have got plague. So the moment I hit with the basic, the other two should die. Okay, she almost died. So if Acolyte would have died on that turn, then all three would have died and not revived. Just because if all three sisters die, then it completely bypasses zombie revives. Okay, so now the revives are done, so it should be pretty straightforward. There we go. Okay, so that team is taken care of. Usually, a lot of people take Traa against that, just because of Annihilate and Isolate and all of that. But you typically want to save Traa for some tougher teams. Now, I wanted to use my Wampa, Rex Wampa against this, but we've got plenty of options. We can use something else against this. Maybe General Grievous. I don't know. Let's clear the teams at the top. These are some tricky ones. So let's clear some of this, and then we can go back down. We still have our Trea left. We have Sith Empire, but I'm planning not to use Sith Empire since I usually use them on defense, and I'm using this as a practice session for offense. So I'm going to ignore that. So I've got General Grievous, I've got JTR, I've got Trea, and I have some scoundrels and yeah. So I think I should be able to. Let me use Trea against. Yeah, let me use Trea against the L3 Vandor and Nest, and I can use General Grievous um, against Vader, Mission, and Zalbar because B2 has got buff immunity, and that's great against Zalbar, prevents him from taunting. So I'm going to go with that battle first. So Separatist. These guys they heal a lot. There's plenty of assists and buff immunity as well. So that's always great. Let's apply buff immunity. Hopefully, there we go. All right, now Let's just do some AoE. Okay, let's see if I can get rid of Vader first. Okay, gotten rid of him. Now let's attack Mission. And because Zalbar has got buff immunity, or he had at least, he didn't end up taunting when Mission went under health. Okay, our AoE should be available in the next turn, and then we can take care of Mission. Okay, let's heal up B2. Heal up B2 again. There. So Grievous is great against any team which relies heavily on buffs, First Order, Mission Zalbar, and so on and so forth. That's why I've typically kept them on defense, but I've more or less started to lean towards keeping them on offense now, just because of the flexibility they give you in taking out any of these buff-based teams. I typically would have used this team against the Basti team that I saw earlier, Basti, Jolie, and Hermit Yoda. They would have done pretty well against them too, but this works as well. All right, so I have my scoundrels as well. So, and I have my JTR. So maybe I should use JTR against this team at the top, the Kira team. That'll be that should be overkill. Okay, hide BB-8, and let's finish up CAD since he's squishy. Okay, and now the others will be taken care of pretty easily. I could have used this team also against the Mission Zalbar team. Okay, looks like I'll end with full health and full protection. Right, this is done. Okay, let's see what else we have. Now we can afford to overkill because we've exposed all the teams, and we we no longer need to save any teams. So we've got the chase team and we've got L3. So we can use our against Nest if you can overkill. And in this case, since I've got my Sith with me, my Traa, Nihilus, and Sith Trooper, I'm just gonna go with these guys. All right. Isolate on L3. I could probably keep this on auto, but I'm just going to go ahead and play. So first I want to take out Vandor and then keep controlling. Yeah, I don't really need to worry about L3 since she won't be able to taunt. And just save my Annihilate for Nest. It should be coming up in the next turn. And just get rid of Vandor Chewie naturally. Okay, let's get rid of Nest. And then Vandor is gone. And now we can just put it on auto. Right, so if I didn't have Traa, what would I have used against this team? Maybe JTR. With JTR, you have to be a little careful against Nest just because she heals up so much. you have to use your basics because if you land expose on her and end up using specials with resistance, you keep reducing a turn meter and you almost never get a turn. But apart from that, you could also use scoundrels, I guess. They start building up, like young Lando and young Han, they start building up a lot of offense and you can start one-shotting them. Or what else? If it's a solo nest, there are plenty you can do. You can get in Savage with stunners and just defeat them. But but yeah, JTR would have worked well over there. Now I've just got one team left, Chase, and let's see what I want to use against them. So I've got my Vandor, uh, young Lando, and young Han team. A lot of survivability, a lot of offense building. So I can probably use this team. This is on one team that I've typically kept a lot on defense as well. But there's especially because of the juggling of prepared that these guys have. There's plenty of survivability. So let me just go in with this team. They're slow, but they get the job done. Okay, so I'm going to, so he's not prepared. So I'm just going to apply ability block over here and get some protection up. And he's not prepared, and I won't be able to get prepared because base is more than 50% turn meter, because that's how Han gets prepared. So I'm going to just get retribution there. So that's the advantage of getting putting that retribution on, because if anyone hits him, Han uh, has retribution, so he hits back, and that person would have less than 50% turn meter because they've just gone, and Han immediately gets retribution. So that's the great part about immediately gets prepared. So that's the great part about Han having retribution. When anyone attacks him, it almost guarantees a prepared for him. All right, let's focus on Jin and take her down and give prepared over to Han to Vandor. Okay, retribution again. Now I'm going to attack base so that I can get prepared. All right, let's keep Fandor under stealth and get rid of Jin. Now it's just a question of getting rid of these guys. Okay, so I'm going to get some protection back, give the prepared over to Lando. So that's what I like about this team. There's a lot of juggling of prepared back and forth because Lando and Han are the only two characters who can pass prepared on to others, and so that gives a lot of flexibility. So now I'm going to pass the prepared back to Han so that he can start assisting every time that these guys go. And now I'm going to give a big hit on base and get some bonus protection on base. All right. Now this hit should finish off base, and I'm going to pass it prepared over to young Lando. Lot of healing over time, but that doesn't matter because these guys build up offense, so it's not a big deal. So I'm going to pass the prepared back over to young Han so that he starts assisting, and with this I'm going to give a big hit over there. Okay, let's keep going. Another hit to heal up young Lando. Retribution. And let's see if we can't land a big hit. There we go. All right, now it's pretty straightforward. There we go, 54 banners. So that's what I like about this team. There's a huge chance of ending up with full health and full protection against almost any team. And those are the kind of teams that you want on offense. So overall, I really enjoyed this match. It was a tough defense, which is the kind I like to face I hope my opponent attacks me, but I have a feeling that they're not going to. And since they kept a pretty tough defense, and I don't think they have much on offense. They do have Jedi Knight Revan, but they don't have Basti or Jolie, so they just have Grandmaster Yoda. So they don't, won't be able to do much. They don't have their Night Sisters, they don't have their Traa or EP or Thrawn or even Basti on offense or any of their scoundrels. So it's I think this is just going to be the final score. But I really enjoyed this match, just because of the creative defense which was set. I especially enjoyed playing against this EP Basti team. I think it was the very first time I was facing this team, and the addition of Thrawn made it even tougher. As it is, EP and Basti have got a lot of protection and health recovery, and Thrawn adds in additional protection recovery. And Basti gives EP a ton of survivability, that 50% extra bonus, the foresight, and and yeah, overall a very survivable team. Tons of turn meter manipulation and a lot of debuffs. So if I would have been able to spare my Basti, I would have probably used it in a team like that. But as it stands, Basti is best under Darth Revan. But if you don't have Darth Revan, seriously consider a team like this: EP, Basti, and Thrawn. Although it sucks to lose Thrawn because he's so good on offense, but that is a tough team to take out if you're not able to figure out what to do with it. Because it took me two good teams to take that out. I mean, my Basti Ezra, I was certain that that team was going to win, but it ended up losing pretty badly. So yeah. All right, so that's it for today for the Grand Arena Finals of 3v3. So after 3 seasons of 3v3s, we're finally done with that. The next one, which is starting up, is going to be 5v5, which is going to be a welcome change. And I believe this is 5v5 without ships. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to have Padme, we're going to have Malak, two interesting new additions since the last 5v5. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So until next time, I'm signing off. Thanks for joining in. I will catch you guys later.